All right, we're going to get going here. I got to get my chat pulled up real quick. Now we can begin. All right, this is going to be crazy. Let's hope that we can last. My fear is that this episode may end quickly if I lose a battle somewhere and the war ends. But it's going to start right away with an engagement because off camera while I was doing my recruiting, and I added all of the backlog of patron units that we hadn't yet added. They're all in the Army now, in the various armies. I went ahead and started sending the Department of the West down toward the Missouri State Guard. I've got to force an engagement because I'm afraid if they take Springfield, the war is over. If they take anything at this point, the war is over. So I can't take any chances. I'm getting my forces massed for this showdown in Kentucky. By the way, I did divide the Army of the Tennessee into two corps, the 10th Corps and the 11th Corps. And they are both making their way up to rendezvous with the Department of the Ohio and the Mountain Department. And then we're going to make a move on Withers' army down here in central Kentucky. But for now, we're diving right into the action outside of Springfield, Illinois. The Battle of Illinois Railroad coming up right here. Hey, Phil, there he is, excited for Dixie. King Beep, Lazzy Bobby Bankrate Jr. What? Hey, Christopher, how's it going? So you can see we're going to be outnumbered about 2-1, but we've faced those odds before. We can't lose, though. I mean, we can't lose. I am Union. Want a good John Reynolds story, always. All right, so here we go. Looks like we're going to be fighting on the Wilson's Creek battlefield. They did add another new battlefield map in the latest development patch. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but I know they added, it might be New Market. I'm thinking it's New Market that they added, but I can't remember 100% for sure if that's what it was. All right, Department of the West, we're going to have to be single line. We're going to have to play this really smart, and I'm feeling like right in here. Lauren, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Appreciate your continued support for this channel. Lauren's been around for a long time. He won one of our very first, if not the, I think you might have won the very first giveaway I ever did on this channel. That Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts giveaway. Or was it Age of Sail? I can't remember which one you chose. The numbers on this one, we're outnumbered 2-1. It's about 68,000 to 34,000. So heavy odds against us. But again, he's only got 5 guns to my 65. So I'm going to hope that makes a difference. King Kong, greetings in Germany. Guten Abend. No, what is it now? Is it morning there? I guess it's after midnight there now. The very first Age of Sail. That's what it was, Lauren. Lauren's in Quebec. We've got actually quite a few people in Quebec that are pretty active on the channel. Good day down under. A 14-day battle, Zach. That's crazy. How not to die in the Civil War. Be a politician. For the most part, that's true. So it was an exciting day here in our house. My first soccer team, my Premier League soccer team, had a really rough day, West Brom. But the Cleveland Browns won a big win today. They tried to blow it at the end, but they won. And then the Columbus Crew, who is our local team that we support here in Ohio, is in the championship for Major League Soccer. So we're pretty excited about that. All right, we're going to get Manning Forces Cavalry out here on the edge. And we're going to dig in. Where's the... I actually think I want to dig in. No. Let's get Ezra Matthews up here. We're going to dig in and start putting some fortifications in here. This is a big division, actually. Interesting, Bjorn. Shane, good evening in Wales. Oh, Lauren, there were a lot of politicians in the Civil War. If I see any of them, I'll point them out to you. I mean, Dan Sickles was a politician. John McClernand was a politician. A lot of the generals, south and north, actually. Howell Cobb, James Kemper, who commanded one of Pickett's brigades, had been the Speaker of the House in Virginia at the time he enlisted, and then actually ended up the governor afterwards. Wade Hampton. Do I think Lincoln's draft number is going to be called soon? Yeah, and Bjorn, cool story. Reynolds was captured during the 7 Days campaign. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. My great-great-great-grandfather, Dan Servey, was a sergeant in the 4th Pennsylvania Cavalry, and he was he was on duty on the staff of General, oh gosh, what was his name? He was on staff of a division commander, and his name's escaping me at the moment, but Reynolds was one of the brigade commanders in that brigade, and Dan Servey was taking a message from the division commander to John Reynolds when Reynolds was captured, and he couldn't find him. And then he came back and found out that his division commander had been captured too. Man, why is that guy's name escaping me all of a sudden? Now I'm going to have to look it up. McCall. It was George McCall. That's it. Yep, Bjorn, you got it. Just as I remembered it, I saw you type it on the screen. Oh, Phil. Oh, don't remind me, man. I watched that game live. That was brutal. I had gone to, I don't know if it was that season or the season before. I was at a playoff game. No, it had to have been the season before when the Browns played the Houston Oilers in the playoffs. I was at that game. It was so cold. Marquis de Lafayette, awesome name, by the way. Yeah, I could totally do a HOI multiplayer stream. Only problem with the multiplayer stream is that the enemies can see what I'm doing, which always worries me. So in the past, when I've done multiplayer games and recorded them, I usually delay posting them by a week or two, just so people don't see what I'm doing. Civil War air travel be like hop in the box and hope you don't get blown to smithereens. HOI is Hearts of Iron. Yeah. All right. So we're going to try to dig in right here in this defensive position because we have to fight defensively and we have to make him come at me and hope that he hurls his men at me in such a way that I can throw them back. We've got a few extra brigades here that I'm actually going to hold as reserves just in case. Have I played Axis and Allies? Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm sitting about 5 feet away from my board game, Axis and Allies. It's on a shelf right next to me. I haven't played the computer version, though I know there is one. No, ActTrade, my recruiting is still doing 3-month contracts. Ever since the latest development upgrade over the weekend, since the last stream, all my new recruit units are 3-month contracts for some reason. I'm going to see if I go ahead and choose the policy to upgrade to 36-month contracts, if that will fix the issue. What edition do I have? It's the Spring 1942. I don't know which edition. I've had it probably 10 years. I had it when I was a kid, but this one's a new one, about 10 years ago. All right, so we're going to, now that we're getting into position here, we're going to start laying down entrenchments, breastworks, because we're going to need them. Everything I can do to give myself the best chance to win this battle against difficult odds, I'm going to do. And then we'll have to give all these guys orders for long-range firing. My cavalry can't build breastworks, unfortunately. But I'm wondering if I build them, if I can get them behind them, perhaps. Yeah, I'm looking at the elevation, It's going to be pretty even. He's got a big hill that he's coming down, but he's not going to be able to fire at me from that hill because my range is going to max out right at about the bottom of that hill as he's coming down, and I'm going to be behind these fortifications. I might maybe have wanted to stick them back a little bit further. Initially, I thought about going by the road, but I'm guessing most of his units are going to have muskets, which is going to have pretty short range. Did I unban? No, I couldn't find him in there. I looked in there and I couldn't find. Oh, sorry, Phil. Maybe you'll get happier news this time around, depending on what happens in this one. All right, I'm going to move. He's actually got such an ideal position here. If I was on that side and he was coming across this way, that would be perfect. I'm just going to hope that he comes down from Oak Hill at me. All right, thank you, Mr. Beat. Cave, thank you, sir. Yeah, you can dig in. You can build. I'm building breastworks, and then depending on your engineering situation, you can build parapets. Let's see, we got 12-pound Napoleons. These are only 6-pound field guns, and then these are the Whitworths here. Those are the long-range guns that are going to come in really handy. But I've got a little bit of elevation for the guns, so I think they'll be good. I'm going to pull the cav back a little bit. My favorite rifle option for infantry, it's got to be those Sharps rifles, but I just can't get any of them right now, unfortunately. But I am, if we survive this battle and survive this episode, I am working on the next Industrialization perk. I was going to show you guys that, but then I got into a battle right away. And that Industrialization perk is going to unlock some new weapons for me, hopefully, that we'll be able to get. We got to get these guys behind these breastworks facing the right way now. Hill camping, yeah. Unfortunately, as I was looking at it, I was thinking that I couldn't get to. These hills here don't offer a whole lot. I mean, this is the ideal one here if people are marching up this way. But he's coming in from that side. I suppose I could go over here if I could get him to come at me from that way. I don't know if I'd get that lucky to do that, but ooh, that's an enticing position over there. Now that I've already started to dig in here. Use machine guns. They did say that there's some kind of plan in the works for Gatling guns late game on here. I don't know how much of a presence they'll make, but oh, Lauren, yeah, Libya was being a jerk. Yes. Von Steinwer. Let's get him to mount up. Give him an evade order. Oh, we can't yet. He's still in the process of mounting up. We'll go ahead and send him forward a little bit. I'm looking to see. They're still no further than right here as far as the objectives go. I think I'm going to start with McLean. And let's get over on this hill. All right, there he is. All right, von Steinwer, chill right there. I just wanted to see where he was. He is shifting this way a little bit. Let's get these 12-pounder Whitworths up here. Not going to be easy to do. Oh, Stonewall Jackson, don't feel bad. It takes some work. General Trimble will not, or will have words with you for not taking Oak Hill. Give me one brigade, and I will take that hill. I love the actor who played General Trimble. I don't know his name, but he was in Gods and Generals as well, and he's very good. And then, of course, Isaac Trimble ended up, I think, leading one of the divisions in Pickett's charge. Can I goad him into coming into my line? That's what I'm hoping for. But I'm hesitating because I'm trying to shift my line over here. And what I don't want to have happen is have him come up on this hill and meet me in the high ground, and then I lose this position here. Let's send Merritt's Cav up there as well. And we got to get him mounted up first. Actually, I'm just going to tell Force to take his whole division up there. That way the orders will happen faster, and I can hopefully kind of suck him in down this way. Hey, there's Simon Buckner. I'm outnumbered 2-1, Kenny. It's about 68,000 to 34,000 in this battle. I'm trying to shift a division over to this hill. Let's give him long-range orders, and then I also want to deploy skirmishers. All right, looks like he's going to build his battle line right here, so that's good. That's going to give me enough cushion to get over here. You and Martin Van Buren share the same birthday. Awesome. He's the first president of the United States that was born when the United States existed. Zach Smith, Ultimate General Civil War is a great game. I think this one's going to pass it in terms of how good it is. Yes, the new patch is dealing with the recruiting issue. It also has changed how the difficulty settings work. It won't apply to this campaign, but to my next ones it will. The bonus now affects more than just morale. It affects other parts of the game as well. All right, so I think we can probably shift some more artillery now. These guns should be in range, but I don't know if they can. Yeah, they can't see from where they are. That's the problem. So let's get them somewhere where they can, like right here. So in the link in the description below, Lauren just mentioned my vlog channel. I'm shifting all of my historical site videos that I do and my history vlogs. Anything that's not game related on the channel is going to that new channel. It's called Vlogging Through History, and there's a link in the description. We're trying to build up the subscriber base. So far, I have 355 subscribers on there. I want to get to 1,000. 1,000 unlocks some new features on YouTube for me. And then from there, it'll just be getting the watch time into it. But 1,000 subscribers is kind of a big deal. So hoping I can get, if I can only get 3% of the subscribers on this channel to subscribe to that one, we'll get there. So the link's in the description if you would go and do that. I've got a video that I'm going to be uploading tonight, which is something a little different than anything else I've done. It was where I kind of explored the family relationships between prominent leaders in the Revolutionary War and prominent leaders in the Civil War. And there's a lot of them, and I only touched on a few. But just for example, one of the things you'll learn in that video is that Thomas Jefferson had a grandson, or great-grandson, who fought in the Union Army and was killed at the Battle of Chickamauga. He also had multiple grandkids on the Confederate side. Paul Revere had several grandchildren. who died during the Civil War as officers. So just those are the kinds of things I explored in there, is the kids, grandkids, great-grandkids of people like Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Paul Revere, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, who played prominent roles during the Civil War. So our guns are opening up, and now he's going to pull his right flank back. I'm going to go ahead and push Manning Force up a little bit because I want to keep him occupied while I complete this shift. And then I start the process of building fortifications. I'm going to go ahead and move Amon's division next and get him over there. Oh, is he turning his line? He's going to shift the whole thing that way. Well, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But I am going to move force up just a hair. And then I'm going to get these 12-pounder Napoleons up here as well. Oh, maybe throw them right there. Oh, my name is Nobody. Very interesting about your fourth great-grandfather. Mason Mouse, no, but I very much want to visit European battlefields. I've never been to Europe, period. Hoping to go to the UK in the spring if everything clears up. Probably the only European battlefields, UK battlefields I'll get a chance to visit. I'm going to visit the Culloden battlefield in Scotland and probably Bosworth in England. Yeah, I can't get heavier artillery yet. The 12-pounder Napoleons are the only thing available to me right now. I've had a very hard time with new equipment. And I don't like how it looks like this brigade here seems to be, yeah, they're nervous and fragmented. That's not good. EU4's good fun. Interesting, he's just kind of still chilling there. That's okay. We'll keep shelling him with our guns. The 6-pounders don't have the range. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to move them up to get them firing. They do, I just don't have it yet. I'm hoping as the war drags on, I'll get better weapons. Hastings. Oh, yeah, I'd love to visit Hastings. I don't know if I'll get that far south in England. So, Christopher, are you talking about Breckinridge, vice president? He was Buchanan's vice president, I think. He was vice president right up to just before the Civil War started. Zach, thank you, sir. Yeah, they are moving. Darn it. I was afraid of that. Smart move by the AI. I just don't like it. Alright. We got to get the get our fighting Mormons up there as quick as we can, the Nauvoo Legion. Alright, so we're going to have to shift McLean over here if we can. Get him up higher on the hill. And do so double time, boys. Alright, so I think he's going to allow me to make this move. I'm going to keep Amon's division down here near the river just to cover my flank. I wonder if I start to pull force back if he'll move. If not, I'm just going to shell the heck out of his right flank with my guns. You've been to Agincourt? Very cool, Wolf Canada. I'd very much like to visit a lot of the battlefields in France. Oh, he's moving. I'd love to visit like the Ardennes forest. What else am I thinking of? Where I'd like to visit the Fort Douaumont ossuary which I think was part of the Battle of, oh gosh, the World War I battle. I'm drawing blanks while I'm doing this for some reason today. They have 5 guns of artillery. That's it. Verdun, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you, guys. Benjamin, thank you. Very gracious. I appreciate that. The Somme, yeah. See, those World War I battlefields. I'd love to visit Normandy. I'd love to visit some of the stuff associated with Band of Brothers, you know, the 506 PIR, some of the places. There's so many places. You know, a lifetime is just not long enough for all the historical sites that I want to visit, and I don't have nearly enough money. But I promise you guys that on that Vlogging Through History channel, any place I visit, the camera will be there, and I will record all of it and try to bring it to life for you guys as much as I can. Bellow Wood would be very cool. Yeah, I've seen some of the videos, Mason, for those foxholes outside of the town of Foy near Bastogne. Yeah, the AI did find out what I'm doing. The Battle of the Frontiers, yep. I've got some battlefields. Oh, I'd love to do the Band of Brothers tour. I've looked into those. They're more than I can afford right now, but maybe someday. Maybe if this channel grows to like 200,000 subscribers, I can afford to do that. Trisha, I would love to go to Asia someday. I've been closer to Asia than I have been to Europe, believe it or not, because I've been to Western Alaska and I've been to Hawaii. So I've been further west than I have been east. All right, we're still trying to move. Not a lot of action happening. He's shifting his whole force. All right, so what we've got to do here is we've got to move Manning force up and force part of his forces to stay put. Yes, Jordan, I did see the Pearl Harbor Memorial. I did visit the Missouri. Unfortunately, that was years before YouTube even existed that I was there, so it wasn't something I would have thought about. Bryce, yeah, I mean, absolutely. That channel, I'm up for anything. I did a 2-hour stream on Alexander Hamilton where I just kind of talked about him. I'm up for any kind of, you know, chats or videos or spotlights. Yeah, I don't like how many are up here either. I agree with you, Matt. I don't like where this is going. Bjorn, what's your question? Deuce, no Real Politics video today. I just did one of those yesterday. Oh, I gotta get these guys up here and try to hold a couple of these divisions if I can. My guns are still hitting him, but I don't know how many casualties I'm causing. Looks like about 241 so far. Not a lot. The USS Midway would be something I'd love to visit. Let me pause for a second here. I want to look. See, right now it's showing as a minor victory because look how low his morale is. This force that I'm facing, even though he's got a big force, this is the Missouri State Guard, and a lot of his forces are Missouri militia units. And so outside of Missouri, they don't have a good morale. So that's kind of what we're hoping for here, is that we can quickly break some of these units because they're fighting outside of kind of their purview, I guess you could say. What is my most underrated battle and most overrated? I'm gonna limit my answer to this question to the Civil War only because that's what we're kind of dealing with here, and because it's the one I feel most qualified to answer. Some others, maybe not as much. I will say World War II, and maybe it's not as underrated as it used to be, but Midway, there are 5 minutes at Midway that completely changed the outcome of the Pacific War. Well, I shouldn't say the outcome, the trajectory. I don't think that after Pearl Harbor, I don't think the Japanese were ever going to win the war in the Pacific, but I think 5 minutes at Midway took 2 years off the time of that war. But in the Civil War, let me think about that a little bit. I think Vicksburg is underrated and Gettysburg is overrated. I'm going to say it that way just because they happened at the same time. And Gettysburg, because it was the first really big victory for the Union in the East, I think it overshadowed the importance of the Vicksburg campaign. I think Vicksburg overall was probably more important than Gettysburg in the overall scheme of things. In that moment, maybe not as much, but yes, Vicksburg split the South in half and was devastating to the South. St. Gens, Suzerain, I've looked at it a little bit. I don't have the game. I don't know if I'll get to it right away, but probably at some point. I need to look into it a little more. I really want to get to playing some... Come on. All right. I think we caused him to at least stop a little bit here. We're going to move these guys up some more. I'm going to go ahead and move Amen up here as well. I really want to get to some Empire of Sin. I know everybody and their brother's playing Empire of Sin right now, but it's a really fun game, and I'm having a ball with it. And you can rename people, which is kind of cool. Bjorn, that's fair. I wouldn't disagree with you about Chancellorsville being overrated. It was a great victory for Robert E. Lee because of the numbers involved, but they almost turned around and lost that battle. The early part of the battle with Stonewall Jackson's flank attack was very successful, but the next few days didn't go nearly as well. All right, so what's happening here? All right, I got to slow down. We're actually engaging now. Here's what's cool about this. Because his morale's so low, I don't need to break large parts of his army. I just probably need to break a division or two. These guys cannot get in range, not even close, with these Smith carbines. The Enfield musketoons don't have nearly the rate of fire, but they have the range that I need. Alright, we need these guys to switch their range. So if I can just break a few of his units because of the morale situation, I'll be okay. Alright, Oregon Volunteers have an upgrade. We're going to give them Deadly Volley. They're very tired from climbing the hill, unfortunately. Still waiting for a couple of these units to get in position. These are the Whitworths here, I think. Yeah, Tasmanian, I agree. Empire of Sin is... it's set in Prohibition. You take on the role of a gangster in Chicago in 1920. You can be Al Capone, Dion O'Banion, a bunch of other guys, and it's really, really cool. It's a strategy game. It's like a turn-based combat kind of thing. Kind of like, what are the games I'm thinking of? Somebody mentioned a couple of games that are like that. There's one I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. I'm losing it tonight. XCOM, thank you, USS Torch. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. The combat system is like XCOM. Alright, we just broke Stewart, so we just drove him off. He's sending a single brigade up here, which is phenomenal for what I need to do. As soon as we get the long-range fire order here. Come on, Doolittle, get up there. These guys are exhausted. Double-quicking up this hill. Alright, you don't have to go double quick anymore. Just get there. So far, he's playing right into my hands, and this has shifted to become a major victory if we can break a couple more brigades. The range... Why me? You expect a guy named Doolittle to do anything? So the range determines at what range they will engage the enemy. So, for example, you see here, this is what their current orders are. This line's their maximum effective range for fire. Their current orders are for medium range, which means they won't fire until they're inside of this line. Alright, so we got to get these guys up here. So see, now that these guys have max range orders, now they'll fire at anybody that's inside of this max arc. It's just a way to conserve ammo until you have a better chance of hitting. You're more effective at different ranges. I broke his left flank artillery. Awesome. Oh, I did. Yep, you're right. So we're at a major victory. His morale's down to 22. See, we don't have to engage his full force to win this. Oh, no, no, no. These guys are going to have a hard time engaging as well because of the range. Let's look at the casualties. So I'm just having to play really smart with my units. Okay, it's about 2 to 1, so that's good. I've inflicted 1,300. He's inflicted 650. Death by 1,000 cuts. That's about it. Why me? Specifically, which brigade are you talking about? Whenever you issue orders, something to keep in mind is that any order I issue to a unit comes from the level of command above that. So if I issue orders to an entire division, that has to come, in this case, from the Army commander. Now, what I don't want to do, I don't want to move this division forward because I'm afraid if I do that, he'll try to engage my full force. And I like just hitting him on the flanks right now. And I honestly don't want to do anything to disrupt my battle line because he's playing right into my hands at the moment. So if I issue orders to a brigade, it comes from his division commander. So sometimes manually moving brigades is the way to go because it happens faster, because that order only has to come from the division commander. Alex, they have left the door open to the possibility of multiplayer, but I don't think it's a priority or something they're currently working on. Alright, we're going to move the Fort Gary horse up so they can start engaging again. Let's get von Steinwehr up. I just want to keep pushing on this flank if I can. I'm honestly surprised Johnson's division, or Johnson's brigade, is lasting as long as it has. He's got 585 casualties, and he's not sending anyone to support him. Whoever's in command, is it Sterling Price? I think it's Sterling Price. I think he must have a really low initiative, or these division commanders do, because they're just not taking any initiative whatsoever. My ammo, I think, is okay. Let me check the cav, because that's my main concern. The carbines, they're actually not, they haven't even started. Why are they charging? No, don't charge. Stay the heck where you are, man. We're good on artillery. I mean on ammo. Slack just broke. Alright, Terry, you sit right there, and let's get the order to go long range. Yeah, 11 Castle, I'm with you. I would love multiplayer, but I'd prefer they make this game as good as it is. I still hold out hope that we'll get a multiplayer for Ultimate General Civil War one day. That would have been phenomenal to have. I'm holding Peck back just because he's nervous, and I'm afraid he'll break, and that'll kind of screw up my plans if he does. Alright, I want to get Wesley Merritt out on the flank here if I can. And then let's bring von Steinwehr up. That would be very cool, Hendrix, if you had like levels of command available. No, I don't think they update Ultimate General. They've moved on to other games. Did one of my regiments break on the hill? No. We're good there. This is going well so far. I don't like that these guys moved up as much as they did. I'd like them to pull back, actually. Because they're going to break, and that's going to hurt a little bit. No, don't turn your back to him, Lyle. I got to give a lot of credit to Johnson for the Confederates. This poor guy has been all by himself as a brigade, but he's, I think, about to finally break. These guys aren't firing. They're tired. I want to move them up just a hair. If he breaks, that might be enough to win the battle. He's lost almost 800 men. Volt, I'm very excited for Ultimate General Revolutionary War. I have a feeling it's going to be a while till we see it. Oh, here he goes. That's it. Another big win. McBride broke, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I thought it was going to be Johnson. But that's back-to-back huge wins for me. Hey, there's Louis Armistead right there. His uncle was the major in charge of Fort McHenry during the battle that gave us the Star-Spangled Banner. Are prisoners a thing in this game? Yes, but I don't think anything happens with them. Like, there's no exchanges, things like that. Lyle's not doing his career any favors. No, he's not. Who can stand against me now? Well, let's find out, because we've got two huge battles ahead of us. That one in Kentucky is going to be huge, but I desperately need to get Washington back. At last check, morale was at 29. If it hits below 25, I lose the war. I don't know that this one's going to have a huge say in things, but I think this might drive him back enough that we can retake St. Louis, and that might help us a little bit with morale. Elkhorn Tavern in Arkansas, I could totally do a video about that. Yes, 11 Castle. Sickles did kill Philip Barton Key. He killed him a block from the White House in broad daylight in the middle of the street. And he got away with it. Yep, as Matt P. said, first time anybody ever successfully used the temporary insanity defense. And then a few years later, he was a corps commander in the Civil War. He was also a congressman at the time, and Philip Key was the D.C. district attorney. All right. That was fantastic. Very happy with that. Major federal victory at the Battle of Illinois Railroads. What do you want to bet? Lyle's the guy who doesn't do himself any favors, although we might not have had one in this case. General Lilly, he's our, I think that's my artillery commander. Of course, the artillery were engaged for far longer in that battle than anyone else. Eli Lilly. Yes, Armistead was kicked out of West Point for breaking a plate over Jubal Early's head. I love that story. Ah, the days of the duel. Used to be a big thing, man. Andrew Jackson was in a duel. All right, Missouri State Guard fleeing in panic. General Lilly becomes a national hero. Colonel Slack loses face. Let's see if that had any impact. No impact on national morale, but you know what will is retaking St. Louis, which is what we're going to do now, because he's definitely going to have to retreat further than St. Louis. So we'll get St. Louis back. Biggest prize right now in the West. That's huge for us. We'll see what that does to morale. You can see right now the power bar, how heavily tilted it is toward the Confederacy. Right now, most of the Army of the Potomac is still retreating. So what we need to do is we need to get back on the offensive. We've got to get Baltimore, and I think holding St. Louis and Baltimore will at least keep us from the precipice of defeat. Oh yeah, Andrew Jackson and Teddy Roosevelt were probably our two most bad you-know-what presidents we've ever had. Yeah, when when the guy tried to kill Andrew Jackson, I think his gun misfired, and then Jackson tried to beat him to death with this cane. All right, so let me take a look real quick at policies. We are working on Industrialization 3, which is going to give us access to new weapons. Let's see if it tells us specifically. Industrial policies will allow new weapons and ship types to be produced in the nation's ironworks and ports. We also passed the Revenue Act, which I'm hoping long-term the Confederates can't sustain this number of men, and that at some point that's going to start to hurt their financial bottom line and their credit rating. My credit rating is great so far, and I'm spending a lot at the moment. I'm actually going to raise diplomacy up even higher. Manliest president's coming to a theater near you. I think Jackson may have... Did he adopt his wife's kids from her first marriage, maybe? Yeah, Trisha, I wouldn't disagree. Washington was a pretty tough dude. I'll get the Spencer repeating rifles with that. My favorite Civil War general on each side. I wouldn't say... Well, Grant on the Union side. I'm a huge fan of Ulysses S. Grant. Mainly as a man. His story is incredible. And I think Stonewall Jackson's not necessarily my favorite general, nor do I necessarily think he was the best, but he's the one that's the most interesting to me. He was a very interesting guy. I'd very much, let's see. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do Militia Act 4 because while it'll hurt some things in terms of the number of volunteers, I'm hoping it'll fix my issue with all of my units being 3-month units at the moment. Yeah, the hospital perk is a good one, I agree. What president is my favorite? Big fan of Lincoln. I think Lincoln is underrated as a politician. I think he's one of the most brilliant politicians we've ever had as president. I don't think we have Brits coming. We're at 64%. My main issue right now is I'm trying to get the Army of the Potomac to finish their retreating so I can stabilize them and make an advance on Baltimore. Because right now we just have the First Corps, his Army of the Shenandoah. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think he's really up there. But we're going to have to send the First Corps just to make sure. But let's take a look where we're at over here. We are waiting for Grant's army to get up there so we can make our move against Withers. And we should be about to retake St. Louis. Union extends contracts to 3 years. There we go. That'll reduce the number of volunteers I have available to me. But I'm hoping it'll fix the issue of new volunteers only getting 3-month contracts. Let's take a look and see what happens. So let's try to recruit in Illinois. Nah, they're still saying 3 months. All right. I think that's probably a glitch that is not going to be repaired in this campaign, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Yeah, he's got a lot of men, but it has stopped going up. Now that we've had the latest update, I think it stopped. It kind of peaked at 544,000 and stopped, and I've got a lot coming. I'll be over 300,000 by the time all my current units that are queued up get into the field. Missouri State Guard's probably going to, at the very least, retreat back to Rolla or Jefferson City. We're almost ready to advance in Kentucky, and I think the Army of the Potomac units that have retreated should be stopping soon. And as soon as they do, I'll start moving them up. But I'm sending the First Corps just to... I can't let the Army of the Shenandoah move on New York City. And that's what I'm worried about right now, is that he's making a move for that, because he knows if he takes New York, the war's over. I should probably get some more units in those forts. I beefed up Fort Mifflin outside of Philadelphia. I should have about 10,000 men in Fort Mifflin by the time it's all said and done. Here comes the Army of the Northwest. He moved that army all the way from West Virginia because that's a fresh one that hasn't retreated yet. What's he got? 61,000 men. Okay. Army of the Potomac. Where are we at? Come on, guys. Stop retreating, because as long as they're retreating, I can't use them to reinforce. And the Army of the Susquehanna has 3,000 men in it right now. Would Lincoln have been as popular if the Civil War had never happened? You could say that about any president, any leader. They are who they are because of the times in which they were. I don't think Franklin Roosevelt would be remembered nearly as fondly if it hadn't been for World War II, because I think a lot of people give way too much credit to the New Deal for getting us out of the Great Depression, and it was really World War II that did that. But World War II masked the fact that the New Deal really wasn't working. Lincoln unwavering. Union invades the South. What did that do to morale? Nothing. We're down to 28. Oh, man, it's still ticking down. That's a problem. We got to get St. Louis back. We're about to. How is the Missouri State Guard over in Illinois? I don't care. We're taking St. Louis. I can't believe that taking St. Louis didn't do more to boost my morale. That's a problem. Because we could start stabilizing things and still end up losing. All right, so what we've got to do now is we've got to advance. Oh, no. Army of the Susquehanna has 3,000 men. We can't fight with them unless we're going to get reinforcements. And I don't think they're in range. Where's the First Corps? Okay, he is going to reinforce, but it might take a while. We might have to play hide and seek for a little while till they arrive. Yeah, Will, I agree. And I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the decisions that Lincoln made in terms of executive power. Oh, yeah, I've got 3,000 men to his 62. That's a great quote from Sheridan, by the way. If I owned Texas in hell. I didn't catch the last of it, but it was a pretty good one. All right, let's see what we got here. How do you tell if reinforcement is coming? There's a little arrow on it, on the map, that shows that it's going to reinforce. We're going to fight at Gettysburg. Interesting. This is where we had our great victory earlier. Let's take a look. No, we're not getting reinforcements. This is not a winnable battle for us. Glorfindel, not good. We won a great victory in the West and retook St. Louis. But no, this one's not happening. We're going to have to retreat here. I've got 3,000 men against 62,000. So we're just going to pull out right now because I have no reinforcements on the way. Claiborne was a fantastic general. I think one of the most underrated Confederate commanders. And I agree. Terrible that Claiborne died in such a ridiculous attack. I will be streaming for probably another 45 minutes to an hour. All right, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. Any thoughts on Rommel? I'm a Rommel fan. I think like Stonewall Jackson, he probably is mythologized a little too much. Bino Bodo Toto. Love the name. Toto? Bino Bodo. Bino Bodo Toto. Glad you could join us. See, that didn't hurt anything for us to retreat there. The Susquehanna Army just hasn't received most of its units yet. If you're just joining us, please take a moment and click on the link in the description and subscribe to my Vlogging Through History channel. There's going to be some new content coming there in the coming week, as well as continuing to migrate my historical content from this channel to that one. Anything not gaming related is going to be going to that channel. So my visits to historic sites, my special videos I've made about historic events, things like that. All the gaming stuff will remain on History Guy Gaming. Okay. I need the Army of the Potomac to stop retreating so I can move them up here to actually give him a fight. Where's his... Okay, so that army that was the Army of the Northwest. That other army was not there. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that. I thought maybe that was a phantom army I was seeing heading toward New York. He really wasn't there. So we're going to move the First Corps down. Come on, come on. They're still retreating. All right, I want to pause for a second, and I want to head over and look at the situation here. Because I want to start, we're in February. I want to start moving these guys. But I want to time it to where they all do it together. January 8th. It's February, dude. Everybody move on February 11th, so we do it at the same time. This is one of the first times I've actually used this feature. But because it's going to take some time for everybody to get their orders, I want to make sure that we're kind of moving in unison because I want as many of these forces to arrive at the same time as possible. So we're not dealing with kind of a piecemeal situation because he's got a huge army there. This is the kind of battle that might determine the war for me. That's just the Army of Tennessee headquarters there. Okay. I'm hoping we can shred him there. Come on. Come on, come on. Stop retreating, people. Why are you still in a retreat mode? All right, we got to get the First Corps back down here. Army of the Susquehanna, they're retreating down this way too. All right, he's got a few men back, but I think he's mostly just getting reinforcements rather than new units. I don't know what will happen if you attack a headquarters alone. Yeah, this bar means that's how close the South is to winning. My morale's at 28. If it drops below 25, the war's over. So that's why I've desperately got to get Baltimore and Washington back as quickly as I can, but I can't do that until the Army of the Potomac gets out of retreating mode and is able to be moved again, which they're not able to right now. They're still set to retreat. So is the Army of the Susquehanna. They say right here, you can look at status. See, this status says marching. The status says retreating. I don't think you can rally an army, unfortunately. Okay, those armies should be moving now. First Corps coming down. Show you right here. You can see it still says retreating. Oh, I don't know why it's still saying that. I wonder if I can give them a stop order and put an end to it. Man. It's like they're stuck in an endless cycle. I don't know why in the world that's still happening, but that's going to be tough to overcome if I can't get that army on the move soon. Right now it's just the First Corps that I can move because they're the ones who won a victory. Here we go. We did fight a previous battle here, the Battle of Somerset, but you can see it was pretty overwhelming odds, and we ended up retreating without much of a fight. I think they're all waiting to move. Why aren't they moving yet? I told them February 11th, didn't I? Might have to reissue orders to move there. All right, so that might not have worked the way I hoped it would. Flip the corps over to a new army, wait a day and profit. I don't know if that would work or not. It's certainly worth a try because it seems like something's wrong there. First corps is going to end up engaging pretty soon. All right, let's see. Activate Conscription Act. I had already done that. The Help was very good. I very much enjoyed that movie. I thought it was powerful. I don't know how historically accurate it is or not, but I thought it was very well done. A lot to think about there. I know some of the stuff was kind of fictionalized, but just to kind of give you a sense of things. We've got 111,000 recruits now. I don't remember us having that many before. Seems like we've gotten a lot of new recruits. So let's see if let's create the army in Delaware. Okay, so this is the 30th Army under Simeon Salmon. What a name there. So let's try this. Let's try a transfer order. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat here. All right. So let's grab Sherman's corps, because I know he's there, and drag him over to Salmon's army. And he's instantly there because we're in Delaware. Let's see what happens with that. He's still showing as retreating. So that did not change that at all. All it did was cause the 30th Army to be in winter quarters and not retreating. But the other corps itself is still shown as retreating. So that did nothing to fix it. I guess we're just going to have to wait it out. All right, let's get back to what's happening over here, because for some reason this is also not working. We're just going to go ahead and go with instantaneous orders. Hope that does the trick. Department of the Ohio, get moving. I got so many units so close together that sometimes it's hard to click on them all. There's Industrialization 3. Before we get into combat here, I want to take a look then at the situation with my guns. Let's see if we have, as of yet, anything new that we can upgrade with. And I'm going to start with the Department, or the Army of the Tennessee. Why are none of the Army of the Tennessee units available to them? What is going on here? His entire army is showing... Oh, boy. We might have another pretty major glitch happening here. The 10th Corps has no men in it. The 11th Corps has no men in it. Ah, jeez. I haven't had this issue before. But those are units that were already in the army. These aren't fresh recruits. A lot of these are units I've had for a while. My Susquehanna units are all at 300 plus days, a lot of them. Ugh, I wonder if the latest update has corrupted my files somehow. Alright, let me take a look at the... Okay, now we're starting to get some guns. We got Spencer repeating rifles, we got Henry rifles, we got Enfield rifle muskets. That's the good news. Now, the contracts didn't expire. I have 2-year contracts on pretty much my entire force. But without Grant's 57,000 men, I'm marching into a disaster. Most of the Department of the West is intact. I don't understand what happened to them. Well, those guys were already 36 months because those aren't new units. That's my problem. Here are the new units. And they're still showing us 3 months, the new ones. All right, let's see the situation here. These guys are still showing as... All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save. And I'm going to exit out. I don't know that... Oh, we're going to have a fight on our hands. But I'm going to quit to the main menu and come back in. I could go back to an older version, but then I lose everything I've done, including the all the new patron units that I added, which is would take a lot of work to go back and figure out which ones I need to re-add. So I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. Never knew the Confederates had a cyber warfare division. While we're waiting for that, we're going to go see the updated numbers for the subscribers on the new channel. Oh, we're up to 365, so we've added 10 new subscribers on Vlogging Through History, which means a bunch of you haven't done it yet. So while we're waiting right now, click on that link in the description, subscribe to that channel. I've got a new video going live in just a little while over there. Uploaded yesterday my visit from Pittsburgh, from Braddock's defeat. And now we pray. I'm guessing probably nothing's changed, but we're going to check anyway. Why? Why is this a thing? I can't park for 5 months and wait for those guys to join that army. We can, however, fight this battle and see what happens. Yeah, they're conspiring against me to keep me from winning this one. All right, 27,000 against 64,000. Unfortunately, I won't get any of the reinforcements from the other Army of the Potomac units because they're all still retreating, which means they won't come to help me out. Back at Gettysburg, as long as we're fighting around Philadelphia, I think we're going to get Gettysburg a lot. All right. Strength, 27,000 to 64,000. Those are big numbers, and the guns are pretty even here. I don't have a lot of artillery with this force. Any hope for reinforcements? None. Nope. So this is it. We're going to be outnumbered better than 2 to 1 here. And right now, this is the only thing standing between him and Philadelphia. So again, if I lose this battle, it's probably sayonara for the war. So every battle just means everything right now. This time we're coming in from the north. He's coming in from the south. Oh, he's already up here at Powers Hill, which means we're not going to be able to rush to the high ground south of town. Maybe we can get up here and take Culp's Hill, though. That would be nice if we could get up in this area. I'm trying to think of where else I could make a stand defensively that makes sense. We could come over here and try to come at him from this side and take Cemetery Ridge. I mean, maybe that's a possibility. But let's lead with the cavalry. General Meade's cavalry. I'm going to send them over this way. I'll bring the artillery over here to start too. I'm going to shift everybody over this way. The last stand of the Philadelphians. 3 to 1 is becoming the norm for me. Yeah, I would imagine their weapons are not good. Bill Garnier was from Philly. Yeah, so was Babe Heffron. They have a statue of the two of them together. To the high ground. I'm gonna change their orders to not use roads so that they'll march straight. And we're gonna start at Seminary Ridge, and then if we can get Seminary Ridge without spotting him, we might try to advance over to Cemetery Ridge. Yeah, Dick Winters is from is it Ephrata in Lancaster County? I've been to Dick Winters' grave. I spoke at Ephrata High School actually. And while I was there, I had a few hours, so I went over to visit his grave. Beautiful location in the cemetery there. Oh, Winters was a fantastic leader. One of my heroes, Dick Winters. Great man for sure. One of those people that without the book and the series, most of the world would never have known about. And there are a lot of Dick Winters out there. A lot of men like that. Guys that, were lieutenants, captains, majors, that we never learn about, but who were incredible leaders and instrumental in winning that war. All right, let's go ahead and get Phil Kearny's division going. I'm also going to give him orders to not use the road so that they'll march straight. We'll start putting them right here, but eventually we'll switch those orders around as needed. I think Oliver's the artillery commander. Hey, V Indicator. This is and some of the others can answer as well. This is a new, it's an early release Civil War grand strategy game, and I'm desperately hanging on against overwhelming Confederate numbers. At this point, any battle I lose probably costs me the war as the Union. We're fighting outside of Philadelphia, and I'm outnumbered better than 2-1. And if he defeats me, he probably takes Philadelphia, and if he takes Philadelphia, the war's over. Zach, if you're talking about Dick Winters, Dick Winters he started out as a lieutenant in the XO of a company in the 501st or in 506th Parachute Infantry in the 101st Airborne Division, which was one of the most heavily involved units during in the American Army anyway, during World War II, and just was an incredible leader. Who steadily just kept rising up the ranks. His company commander was killed on D-Day when his plane was shot down. And so Dick Winters, on the morning of D-Day, had to take command of the company, led an attack that took out some German artillery that were firing on Utah Beach, and probably that attack single-handedly made Utah Beach a much easier landing. Went on to lead his company and then eventually battalion throughout the war. If you watch the miniseries Band of Brothers, you'll learn about Dick Winters. Just a fantastic leader who is absolutely loved by anybody who's ever known him, and certainly by the men who served under him. Yeah, Bjorn, I was going to say that. That's the attack that I was just talking about at Breakcourt Manor. Winters was nominated for the Medal of Honor for the attack at Breakcourt Manor, was downgraded to a Distinguished Service Cross because the Army had this ridiculous rule that for action on D-Day, there could only be one Medal of Honor per division, and the 101st Airborne Division's Medal of Honor went to somebody else. Yeah, I'm kind of putting myself into the Confederate historic positions here on Seminary Ridge. Now, Bjorn, he was nominated by Colonel Sink for a Medal of Honor, and actually there was a congressman, I think, from Pennsylvania that led a push to try and get it upgraded to the Medal of Honor, but he definitely got the Distinguished Service Cross. Silver Star, a couple of the other guys in the Breakcourt Manor assault got Silver Stars, but his was definitely a Distinguished Service Cross. Yeah, I'm zoomed out at the moment. We'll zoom in here in a minute. All right, we're gonna do a Pickett's charge here in a minute. He's actually holding, or he was holding, Southern Cemetery Ridge. All right, let's see. my division commanders are all kind of mixed up here. We're going to send Meade forward first with the cavalry up here to Cemetery Hill, just to get some eyes on what's happening. And then let me get, here's Tyler's division. We're going to move them up right here to the angle. This is the Pickett's charge. This is where the copse of trees was right in here. Pickett's charge marched right across this field here. Yeah, I think Lipton got a Silver Star. Who was the guy who ended up the prosecutor? Another officer. Buck Compton got a Silver Star for Brecourt Manor. If only Sickles were here, James. Sickles made a name for himself in the very first battle of this campaign. He marched out against orders just like Sickles would do. And he's been haunting me ever since. But yeah, Sickles historically was holding this position right here. And he marched his corps out to like right here and kind of put him in kind of a triangle shape right here. And then when Longstreet's attack came, speaking of, I retraced Longstreet's attack, and that video is on the new channel, the link in the description below. I know I'm pimping that a lot today, but last year I was at Gettysburg, and I retraced the steps of Longstreet's attack. Oh, here we go. Okay. And it was kind of fun, actually, because I was there in the winter, so there weren't a lot of people. And I actually kind of charged up Little Round Top, and it was hard. It was really hard, and I was out of breath. I was just trying to get an experience of what it was like for those men. Yeah, I've had a chance a few times. Speaking of Band of Brothers, I've had a chance to speak privately with the guy who played Shifty Powers, who I love. Shifty's one of my favorite guys from that unit. He's from southwestern Virginia, where a lot of my family's from. And very humble, another real humble guy who was just a dead shot, man. He was a killer. And but I had a chance to talk to the guy who played him a few times. It was pretty cool experience to do that. I have seen the Pacific. It's very good. Yeah, Dark Prometheus, I think every upgrade they make to the game is very good. It makes it a bit of a challenge, because we see some of these glitches like what I'm experiencing right now, because when the game changes significantly, sometimes it affects your current save. But those are all things to be expected when you're dealing with a early access game, especially an early access game like this, where it's not a big studio that's developing it. This is just some guys that are doing this in their spare time, and I think doing a phenomenal job with it. I agree, the Pacific I don't think is quite as good as Band of Brothers. Yeah, thankfully they fixed the recruiting issue. That recruiting issue, unfortunately, kind of ruined this campaign. But at least we know moving forward it won't be a problem. So even if I lose this campaign, we'll start a new one, and it should be a lot more interesting. Did he write any memoirs? Are you talking about Shifty? I believe he did. I think it's called Shifty's War. I want to say. I haven't read it yet. But a lot of the guys from Band of Brothers did write memoirs, and I think Shifty was one of them. I don't like where we're going to be here at all. Kind of thinking I should probably pull back. Because I'm really not in a position where I have to attack. All right, Meade, let's chill here. Plans for Christmas. Well, some of you know, and I don't talk about this a lot because I don't, they say don't talk about politics and religion. So I don't talk about things that might potentially divide us. I want this to be a very inclusive community. And I don't personally, for me, I don't care what your religious faith is or if you don't have one at all. We're all here because we love history, and that's what unites us, and that's really what I want to choose to focus on. But I am a pastor, part-time. That's kind of my one day job that I still have going right now, because of my speaking engagements in schools. Talking about kindness are not a thing right now. Oh, no. But we just decided today that we're going to limit our in-person services for church, and we decided we're going to do our Christmas Eve service online, which online means from my kitchen, because I do mostly everything at the church. I lead worship on my guitar, and I preach and things like that. So I'll just do that. I'll sit with my guitar in the kitchen and do some music. I'll do a message and things like that. And other than that, it's probably just going to be my immediate family, me, my wife, and my kids, and my mother-in-law for Christmas. Pretty low key. Like a lot of people, we're just trying to be careful. My wife lost a cousin to COVID yesterday, and we lost a 38-year-old man with special needs in our church a couple of days ago to COVID. So we're being very, very careful with those things right now, and wanting to be safe. So we're limiting some of that stuff, and hopefully this thing clears up pretty soon. We can all get back to our normal lives, and I can start planning a trip to the UK in May. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Lauren, actually, I mean, I guess I could post a link to it sometime, that you could see that stuff. Remind me later, and maybe I'll just shoot you a message with it, because I think I still have your email. All right, so we're kind of all over the place here at the moment, but I think I'm going to put Tyler's division right up here. And again, this is going to be a situation where he's going to build this battle line, and we're going to try to find a spot where we can maybe hit him. Morale, little different issue here. His morale is higher than the last overwhelming force I faced. And if he decides to launch a major attack on me, I could have some problems. I hope so, John. I see that they're going to start rolling out the vaccine there in the UK this week, it looked like. So I'm very hopeful that that'll be the case. Was I in the military? No, I was not. Have incredible amounts of respect and gratitude for those who have served. And one of the cool things about this channel, and especially about this game, has been that because I do this thing with patrons through Patreon, where you can see all these different units, 51st Highland Brigade, the Irish Brigade, Battalion of Engineers, Tennessee Volunteers. These are all units that are named by patrons who are supporting this channel. I don't make a lot from ad revenue on the game. I actually make more from the support of patrons than I do from ad revenue from YouTube. And a lot of the patrons, I'd say several dozen, are folks who were in the military service, and their unit requests for the names are named after units that they served in. And I love that. I love hearing those stories, hearing the background. Some people request units because they're reenactors and they reenact in that unit, or because they had a relative who fought in that unit. And it's just very cool to hear those backgrounds. But yeah, I actually looked into, when I was in my 20s, into being a chaplain in the military. I would have probably gone in as a captain, but we were just starting to start a family and have children, and it just kind of was the wrong time for that. And I have a lot of regret over the fact that I did not serve, but I have incredible respect and admiration for those who do, and he's going to launch attack on me, and we could have a problem on our hands real quick here. All right, long range. Oh, these guys only have... Irish Brigade still only got muskets. So we've got kind of a reverse Pickett's charge happening here. Yeah, Mark, if you email me at thehistoryguy25@gmail.com, the link's in the description for my email. I will be glad to email you the link, but yeah, I probably won't post it publicly. All right, we've got a problem here because he is coming right at me, and that's not the kind of thing that I can necessarily withstand. So let's try to do this. This is actually a move from Pickett's charge as well. Is when Pickett's charge came in, it was Stannard's brigade, the paper crawler brigade from Vermont, that actually came up kind of on the flank and started firing flanking fire into the Confederates. And we're going to try to do the same thing. I don't know what the 1st U.S. sharpshooters are waiting for. They're very tired. They're disrupted. He just charged right into the Highland Brigade. I'm hoping we drive him off. No, 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 boys. Come on. Don't go anywhere. You can handle this. Rally, rally. Oh, we broke 2 brigades. Yeah. Highlanders, nice job, boys. They drove off 2 brigades. I'm still waiting for the sharpshooters to get up there. Yeah, let's get the division commander on rally. And now Walker might break as well. He's trying to get over on my flank over here. We're going to shift the 3rd North Carolina Mounted Infantry over there. So let's do this. Let's get the Tennessee Volunteers turned into their flank. Joshua Chamberlain is in the game. He appears as a volunteer when you raise main units. A World War II unit called the Alamo Scouts. I have not. Alright, let's see here. See, these guys are in kind of a precarious situation here. I'm going to break off some skirmishers there. Turn these guys that way. Oh, no, actually, no. Let's turn them this way. Because these guys are finally starting to move. Give me a long-range fight there. Alright, we drove off Kyle, we drove off Carter, we drove off Walker. This is all good news because we need a few more of those. His morale's down to 27. It was in the 40s. We need probably to drive off a few more units, and we might actually win this. His morale's been bad because he's largely been in the north. And that drops his morale some. Let me go back out here. I want to see the... Okay, 500 to 1,300. So we've inflicted better than 2-to-1 casualties. Okay. This will probably be a good battle to end with for this stream if we survive. Now here he comes against the cavalry. I'm going to dismount the 13th PA Volunteers. I don't know why Emory Upton, my corps commander, is marching out like that. Oh, no, 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 no. I just want to move him. Oh, man, this is all over the place right now. This is pretty crazy. Just the way everybody's kind of lining up at the moment. I don't know why these guys are facing that way, but I need them to turn around. His charge just kind of twisted my lines all over the place. We're at major victory level now. We need that morale to drop a little more. It's down to 27. Here comes another attack. We got to get ready for that. Well, I can't charge with Maher because of where Wright is. What happened here? Robertson's brigade surrenders. 2,700 men captured. Beautiful. That helps. Is he retreating? I think he is. Oh, that was enormous. That was a disastrous attack for the Confederates. I want to look at the... where was that? I wonder if he's still going to show up. Missing. Here we go. So that was in Van Dorn's division. Robertson's brigade here. Awesome. Yeah, let's see if we can get right now, because that was part of Van Dorn's force. All right, let's get these guys dismounted. Oh man, that could not have gone better. Could I capture Jones? Confederates got reverse picketed. Where's Jones? Oh, Jones back here. I don't want to risk a unit to go after him. I mean, I suppose it's possible. I'm more thinking about what I could do to right. But then again, you know what? I don't want to risk anything. I don't want to charge and have one of my units get broken and kind of turn the tide of this battle when it's going so well. I'm going to just kind of sit tight and reform my lines and let him keep coming at me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't want to do anything to change what's happening here. I do have a unit back here. Let's send the 3rd North Carolina Mounted Infantry against Jones's brigade and see what happens. In real life, Zach, they only had a chance with European intervention. The same way that the American... there's a lot of parallels between the American Revolution and the Confederates, and the Confederacy and the Civil War. The chance was to do two things: get European intervention and outlast. What won the war in the Revolution were those two things. It was French intervention, Spain to a lesser degree, but then it was we outlasted the British until they got tired of spending the money and the lives on the war. The South needed that to happen in the North. They needed Lincoln to get beat, and they needed to hang on long enough for that to happen, and it didn't. I think Wright's kind of, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's kind of stuck here. We're still in minor victory, though. He's pulling back, but I don't think it's a finished deal yet. That sweet Dutch cash. You are right, Lemon Squid. Do not forget that. A lot of money from the Dutch that John Adams helped secure. Highly recommend the John Adams series, by the way. There goes Wright. The HBO miniseries John Adams. I love Paul Giamatti as an actor, and I thought John Adams was fantastic, the series. Crow's Beak, that's fair. Desmond Doss, there's another fantastic story. And he's actually from the same part of the country as Shifty Powers is, from that southwestern Virginia area. Yeah, there was French cash too. Absolutely. All right, I think we live to fight another day. Why is it indecisive, though? I think some of his units are still breaking. Yeah, the Spanish were our allies in the war as well. All right, so we're going to probably have to go ahead and advance here and take some of these objectives. Let's go grab Culp's Hill, because this is still showing as indecisive. And his morale's actually back up to 36. And I think part of that is because some of his units have probably rallied. So I'm going to largely hold this defensive position. Was Hamilton? Oh, Hamilton was a ridiculous war hawk. And I will say this: I'm a fan of Alexander Hamilton probably more than I am a fan of John Adams. They did not like each other because they were very, very different. And they were both very outspoken and very stubborn. But yeah, I think Hamilton, the limited way in which he's portrayed in John Adams, is probably a fair portrayal. All right, so let's go grab Culp's Hill. We're going to just start gobbling up some of these objectives if we can. His morale's starting to climb back up. He hasn't had any units actually break from the field yet, which concerns me a little bit because that means they're probably rallying somewhere. I don't know why Earl Van Dorn's still chilling in front of me like this, Yeah, this concerns me that he could come back for another attack, but that's fine. I'm just not going to go searching for him and risk myself in that way. Not many people liked John Adams. That's fair. Speaking of John Adams, I did get to visit, and if you're ever in the Boston area, I highly recommend touring. They're all starting to retreat. There they go. The Adams Estates, the two Adams homes where John Adams lived. Very cool tour, but it largely bans cameras, and so I couldn't really record anything inside, but it was a really neat experience. Hey, Benjamin, that's okay. I would be grateful for that. You focus on your studies, man. Have we pushed toward D.C.? No, we're still waiting for the Army of the Potomac to recover so we can push back toward D.C. This is, however, a fight outside Philadelphia with the First Corps. I'm outnumbered almost 3-1, and I just won. I also won in outside of Springfield, Illinois, and retook St. Louis, so that was good. And yes, and my Army of the Tennessee, all of my men disappeared, and they're like 5 months away from returning. He is staring me down menacingly. But a lot of them are withdrawing now. Let's see how many men he's got left. I think his army's pulling out. He's only got 15,000 men left on the field. So he's withdrawing. It just hasn't fully happened yet. Let's go grab this objective here. It's just really kind of waiting for him to finish withdrawing. Yeah, I'm going to grab the capture points. It's going to end up a decent victory. But let's go ahead and start in advance and take these points now that we know that he's not sticking around. Benjamin, this will be live later. You can go back and watch it. Usually the live streams after a few hours become live on the channel. So just watch. It'll be live on there, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing from start to finish. So we're going to march up and grab all these. I don't know who he's still got left on the field. That 15,000 is probably not accurate. Yeah, Mark, that was one of the most, for me, one of the most touching moments of that series was when his daughter, Nabby, who I've been to her grave, and actually, again, on the channel, if you click on the link in the description and go over to the Vlogging Through History channel, look for my visit to Hancock Cemetery, which is right across the street from the church where John Adams is buried. His daughter, Nabby, who was the one who had cancer, I visited her grave. Boy, that scene when she has her mastectomy without any anesthetic, it was just brutal to watch, but so true to the time. It's called John Adams, Will Simmons. Oh, we didn't even grab this objective, so we got to do that. Who's he still got left? His whole army has to have retreated. He's got 5,500 men left on the field. They just haven't made it yet. They're gonna. Yeah, there we go. They're all gonna pull out at the end of the day, so that'll be it. $2,400 men. He's just got one brigade that hasn't hit the exit point yet. All right, Mar, get up and grab that point there. Let's send Robinson to this one. We'll send Miles over there. I may not grab them all before it's over. Appreciate you guys and all your support and your enthusiasm. I'm grateful, really I am. And thank you guys for joining me on this stream. As soon as this battle's over, we're going to wrap up. But we're hanging on. We are hanging on against overwhelming Confederate odds. I wasn't sure we'd make it through this episode, but we have somehow. Why this battle hasn't ended yet, I'm not sure. Because he's just got one unit out there somewhere that hasn't withdrawn. 2,400 men. We might just have to go searching for him. There it is. All right. That's a victory. Sorry, Phil. Rough couple of episodes for you, buddy. Look at that. 657 casualties. Disastrous. That was like a Pickett's charge combined with Franklin kind of bad charge there in the Battle of Elkton. Yeah, Will, I might have to hold back on those guys in Kentucky and hope that my Army of the Potomac recovers. But I'm going to wrap it up right there. Thank you guys for joining me. Had a lot of fun. Make sure you hit the like on the way out. Check out that link in the description below for the Vlogging Through History channel. I'm going to go right now and make the latest video live. I'm going to check the morale before we finish here. I would imagine it hasn't changed a whole lot. His morale drops when he loses battles. Ours doesn't really go up. We've got to take Washington back to save ourselves from disaster. But thank you guys for joining us on the stream. But I will check that real quick before we finish here. Glorious victory at Elkton. We're still at 28. His is down to 94 though. But we're gonna wrap it up right there. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. We'll see you again soon.